Hey everybody, David here, and today I want to do a spoiler review for Thor: Love and Thunder. I saw this movie during the weekend. This review could have been up sooner, but I actually forgot to do it. And then I remembered, okay, let's do it tomorrow. And today is tomorrow, so let's talk about it. All the spoilery things. What did I love? What didn't I love? I'm gonna be honest. I'm not that nitpicky like most reviewers. I usually am never disappointed. But in this case, yeah, this movie was great. I really enjoyed it. I had a great time with this movie. I thought it was really funny, really entertaining. Is it my favorite Thor movie? No. I still think Thor Ragnarok is the best Thor film easily. Is it my top 10 favorite MCU movies? Maybe not. I don't know. I'd have to think about that and see where it would place, but I'm pretty confident. The Marvel Cinematic Universe has, a lot of great films, so it's hard to make that top 10. Whether you count the TV shows or not, it's not an easy task to get in the top 10. But I think Thor Love and Thunder is definitely in the middle ground of some of the overall MCU films. I think Chris Hemsworth continues to nail this character. I love Chris Hemsworth as Thor. He has been my favorite MCU character since Phase 1. That's right, Thor is my favorite character. Going back to the first Thor movie, I liked him more than Iron Man, I liked him more than the Hulk. Captain America was one of my lesser favorite characters, but he grew as time went on. So Captain America is now up there in the with Thor in the top two for me as my favorite MCU characters go. And Thor definitely has always been number one though, and it's the way Chris Hemsworth plays it. He definitely has great charisma and acting skills. Obviously, when they enhanced his comedic abilities, that also helped. And Taika Waititi is a fantastic director. Ever since Thor Ragnarok, he has become one of my favorite directors. I loved The Hunt for the Wilder People. I loved Jojo Rabbit. I finally saw What We Do in the Shadows, the series and the movie, which are both great. So, did I mention Jojo Rabbit? It's like this guy is amazing, and every time his name pops up, I can't wait to see what he does next. He's doing a Star Wars movie next, which should be really interesting. What approach he decides to take with it? Hopefully, a little bit more serious approach, because I think that's what kind of not the problem, but that is kind of the weakness of this movie is that maybe it is a little too much comedy, where I think Thor Ragnarok had a really great balance of comedicness and seriousness. And I wish we kind of got a little bit more of that. But for what it's worth, I still think this was a great time at the movies, laughing with everybody and getting a good time. Natalie Portman back as the mighty Thor, Jane Foster. Her storyline in this movie was fantastic. It's what people were expecting if you know the comics. I don't know the storyline from the comics, but when I heard about it, it did get me a little intrigued into how they were going to play it in the movie. I thought it would have been to handle it a little bit more seriously. It does get a little bit more serious towards the end of the movie, which I did like a lot. But for the laugh parts in the beginning, I don't think they made jokes about her having cancer. Spoiler alert, like I said. I think they played with the cancer issue pretty much what you take. They don't make a joke out of her having cancer, but I it takes a while for Thor to find out that Jane has cancer, and that's why later on in the movie, that's where things get a little bit more serious when he learns that himself. There were some great cameos in this movie. Kat Dennings makes a nice little return from WandaVision as Darcy. We have, when I heard rumors that Kat Dennings wasn't going to be in the movie, I was kind of like, oh, really? That seems weird that they're going with this Jane cancer storyline, but they're not going to have, one of her best friends there. And Eric Selvig was back too in a minor little cameo as well, which was nice. That was a nice way to tie it up. Matt Damon and Luke Hemsworth both returned from as their theater characters, performing another take on the Thor and Loki drama storyline. This time with Melissa McCarthy having a little cameo as Hela, which was sweet, and Sam Neill, of course, returning as the actor playing Odin. That was really nice. I Speaking of Taika Waititi, Taika Waititi not only a master at uh, the director, playing the director, directing the movie, but also great as Korg as well. Tessa Thompson returns as Valkyrie. I thought she was great. Maybe a little underused for the matter, because I think Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie was a great character in Thor Ragnarok, and I felt because Natalie Portman was here, Natalie Portman got a little bit more time to shine than Valkyrie. Valkyrie had to be pushed aside a little bit as the supporting character, where before she got more time to shine because she was a new character, and the Hulk was more of the supporting character, pushed it back a little bit. So maybe that's the reason they thought, hey, we got Natalie Portman here. We want to use her front and center since this is about her and Thor's relationship and where that relationship is going to go. So maybe Valkyrie just didn't play much into that factor. Russell Crowe as Zeus was fantastic. As soon as he started prancing, with his little skirt up and the humor that came out of him, I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. And Christian Bale, we gotta talk about Christian Bale because he is the main villain of this story. I thought Christian Bale was fantastic. He is a creepy villain, the kind of creepy villain you are hoping for in the MCU. I think he's up there with some of the best of all time. I think Thanos is still my favorite. Loki, if you count the early Loki, when Loki was evil, nowadays he's good. But if you count evil Loki is up there. Killmonger was great too. I think Christian Bale's Gore the God Butcher has to definitely be in that conversation of some of the all-time best MCU villains. I think every scene he was in, you could feel that weight of the kind of actor that he is. And now I get to finally see, after all these years, when Christian Bale was announced to be in this movie, I was like, man, I can't wait to see what a Marvel movie with Christian Bale is going to be like. Now I finally got to see it, and I say it was worth every penny. I don't know how much Christian Bale got paid, but it was worth it either way. He was fantastic, and he brought his A game. And you could tell he was having so much fun on set. So I loved seeing Christian Bale in this movie. Lady Sif, Jamie Alexander returns as Lady Sif. I almost forgot to mention her. I should have lumped her in with the other cameos because her role isn't that big. She's like in 2 scenes. She was really great to see return too, although her character did feel a little out of character to me a little bit. Because of the humor, and so yeah, I'll leave it at that. I am surprised we did not see Loki get a cameo, but at the same time, I'm not so surprised since Loki's like on his own adventure. I have a feeling somewhere down the road we are going to see that version of Loki unite with this Thor. I don't know when, I don't know how, but it's going to happen for sure. Another thing that I want to talk about. Let's talk about the end credit scenes. The end credit scenes were interesting. The last one, let's go on the last one first. So in the movie, Jane dies, right? She dies with cancer. She loses her Thor powers, just like in the comics, right? I don't know how she dies in the comics, but I know that she does die because the powers of Thor is actually killing her faster, which is what happens in this movie. And at the end credit scene, the very last one, we see her go to Valhalla, and who is there? Idris Elba as Hamdall. I thought that was bittersweet, and I think this could, in some ways, I was thinking to myself, this could be a nice little setup for if they decide to kill off Thor, what better happy ending than him being reunited with Jane up in Valhalla, right? But then I heard that actually Jane can still return. So I don't know where they plan on taking the Jane character, but either way is fine for me. I'll look forward. I think there is a part of me that says that I think Jane should stay dead, but knowing the MCU, maybe they'll find a way to bring her back, especially if it is in the comics. I don't think they should always do what the comics do because it takes away sometimes from good storytelling. But if they do find a way and if they do feel it's right for a story that they're going for, then sure, go for it. I really did love the second end credit scenes. Now, I don't know too much about the character of Hercules in Marvel Comics. I know there is a version of Hercules, not the Disney version, not the Rock version, not the Kevin Sorbo version. There actually is a Marvel Comics version of Hercules. When that scene came up with Russell Crowe saying, "Okay, you have to go," and it's revealed and kill Thor and whatever, and it's revealed to be Hercules, I thought that was really cool, and it did get me kind of geeky because even if you don't know who the comic version of Hercules is, at the end of the day, it's still some variation of Hercules. So Hercules is one of the greatest Greek god heroes or demigod heroes known in Greek mythology. So you kind of, as a mythology fan, just as a like ancient mythology kind of person who Hercules is the most well known. So a movie featuring Thor going up against Hercules, I think that's awesome, and it's funny because Hercules: The Legendary Journeys with Kevin Sorbo actually did I think it was 2 episodes where Hercules and Thor did go at it, and then eventually they do have to team up. So just some interesting little trivia there. And Loki was like the main villain and all that, putting them against each other. I think Odin was in the episode too. I don't remember. It was really bad and really cheesy, but still, not one of my favorite seasons of Hercules, The Legendary Journeys. I remember, probably not even my favorite episodes. Really bad. But look, I'm looking forward to whatever the MCU gives us, especially with Thor. The more Thor, the better. I think he should be the face of the MCU right now, going forward, especially if Doctor Strange is not going to be the face of the Avengers. Thor is like the oldest Avenger, so it makes sense if his story kind of carries the MCU going forward. But who knows? It's up to Kevin Feige. Whatever he decides will go. Finally, the way the movie ends. Obviously, Thor gets a daughter. That's right, Christian Bale's daughter, who dies early on. She comes back to life. I really did like how Christian Bale's arc ends in this movie, and how he asks Thor look after her, because he agree. Thor convinces him not to kill the gods in the universe, right? So I thought it was nice and sweet that he adopts Gore's daughter and is now a father to this young girl. And someone made the comparison on how similar it kind of is to how Odin adopted Loki and took him in as his son. Now he's adopting a young girl and going to raise her as his own as well. So I thought that was really sweet. So yeah, I thought this movie was great, man. I thought there were a lot of really funny moments. Towards the end, like I said, it gets a little bit more serious. I think it starts to even it out a little bit more towards the end, the last 40 minutes maybe. There are some great action sequences, some great visuals, and yeah, it was a great time at the movie. So if you haven't seen Thor: Love and Thunder yet, what the hell are you doing? Go and check it out now. And leave a comment if you did see it and tell me your spoilery thoughts. Are there things that I should have talked about? What did you think of some of the performances? What did you think of some of the character choices? Do you have any predictions with Hercules versus Thor? Or do you think we'll see Thor somewhere else? What about Beta Ray Bill? People have been asking for this character for so long. We didn't even get a reference to him in this movie. So let me know in the comment section below. And with that being said, everybody, until next time, take care.